Greetings, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. We've got a band here today that has been asked for, for probably like 6 months from so many of you. We're actually going to be doing a bunch of Canadian bands over the course of the next couple weeks. So I wanted to get this one out of the way because, again, I know it's been requested. These guys are perennial favorites of a lot of you. We're talking about Hard Rockers' April Wine. A very lengthy discography, a lot of great songs. I find a lot of their albums are really inconsistent. There's a lot for me. They're one of these bands that have some really great songs, and they also have some not so great songs. I find a lot of the albums that I have a good chunk of them, but I find that a lot of them, there's some filler. You know, they dabbled in a lot of like non-hard rock stuff. You know, they did a little bit of like kind of folk and some country, which you can kind of call country, a lot of ballads. You know, later in their career, they got really into like kind of like, 80s pop and what have you. But, amidst all that stuff are some sizzling hard rock tunes, some really good kind of like melodic rock stuff, touches of prog here and there. I wouldn't call the band metal. They were a little metallic at times, but some really good songs. So I was able to put together a pretty strong top 10 list, and then I got a bunch of honorable favorites. So I just want to let you know my April Wine, the stuff that I own that I've heard basically ends at the Animal Grace album. So I know they've done some stuff after that. But so all of my stuff that I mentioned, whether it's my top 10 or the honorable mentions, are going to end with the Animal Grace album. So if there's stuff you like from anything they've released after that, I don't have it, haven't heard it. So I'm just not going to go there, right? So let's get started. So number 10, off the very fine First Glance album, which I like quite a bit, and that for me was kind of like a turn into like kind of heavier directions for them, and a really, really good album. In fact, I got a couple tunes in my top 10 list. Get Ready for Love. Great anthem. Crunchy, crispy guitar work, some really nice guitar solos. Just a really, really catchy hard rock tune that I always really dug a lot. That comes in number 10. From the Harder, Faster album, another favorite of mine, Before the Dawn. That's kind of like the band. It's got some kind of like prog rock song structures and arrangements, but then some really meaty, crunchy Les Paul guitar tones. Really cool vocal harmonies. Really dig that song a lot. Very underrated song in the April Wine canon. Next up, from the Nature of the Beast. A great album. My actual introduction to April Wine, because here in New York and the U.S., April Wine were basically unknown until, a hit single, which I'm going to get to in a couple minutes, and another really strong FM radio tune. But it wasn't until the Nature of the Beast album that these guys were that anybody took notice here. So Crash and Burn, a blistering rocker with some scorching lead guitar work on the back end of that album. Very strong album, pretty rockin' album. They really, I think here in the U.S., they really marketed April Wine right around that time because they were on Mercury Records, I believe, Polygram, something like that. They were kind of marketing them along with, new releases from Scorpions and Rainbow and Pat Travers, a lot of like heavy stuff coming out on that label at the time. So great tune, coming in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, the title track to one of their earlier albums, which for me might be their strongest album, front to back, top to bottom, start to finish, the title track, Electric Jewels. A very proggy tune from the band, with lots of kind of different elements. It's kind of mellow and dreamy and atmospheric in spots. Then it's got some really cool guitar work, right? And then you got some mellotron, right? More prog stuff. And then towards the end, the thunderous riffs kick in and the blazing guitar solos. Great vocals all the way throughout. Really kind of mystical, cool tune. A little different for the band, but I love it. And that Electric Jewels album is really, really strong. Great tunes on that album. That's my number 7 pick. Number 6. The hit single that I was telling you about. God, did this break top 50? I know it's pretty popular here. I'm not sure about all around the world and the rest of the country, but Just Between You and Me. A great tune. Catchy tune. Some really tasty lead guitar solos. The chorus is just, totally addicting. A really cool, like, melodic rocker. Always dug that a lot. Coming in at number 6. Coming in at number 5. Back to the First Glance album. Hot on the Wheels of Love, another anthem. Kick-ass rocker from the band. So memorable. Just, one of those kind of like, back in the day, man, if you had a lighter, you'd light that shit up and, just get the fist pump and play the air guitar. Great, great, memorable tune from the band. Comes in at number 5. Coming in from number 4, going back to one of their earlier albums called World's Gone Crazy. World's Going Crazy, I should say. The very Frank Marino Mahogany Rush sounding So Bad, which is some blistering lead guitar work. It's a total heavy rocker, just guitar solos all over the place. Again, reminds me so much of like Frank Marino. Love that song. From The World's Going Crazy, another underrated band, going way back in their catalog. Back to the Harder, Faster album. How about I Like to Rock? Another just get on your feet, bang your head, whip out the air guitar hard rocker. They did a lot of those later in the late 70s, early 80s. Very good band, very underrated band, just with a lot of really good hard rock and party anthems. And I Like to Rock is my number 3. Love that tune. Coming in at number 2, back to the First Glance album, Roller. Another thing these guys did really, really well is they were a kick-ass boogie band. You can talk all you want about Status Quo, right, or Foghat. But man, April Wine had a lot of great hard rockin' boogie tunes on a lot of their albums. And Roller is just ultra catchy. It's just, again, one of those just feel good, crack open a beer, man, and just get on your feet and rock out kind of tune. Always love Roller. Kick-ass tune. Number 2. Coming in at number 1. It's been my favorite April Wine song since the day I heard it. Obviously, because the day I heard it, I didn't know much April Wine, but all these decades later, I still love it. It's not even an original song. They didn't write the song, but it's my favorite tune. It's a great kind of just driving rocker, kind of proggy, just very, very cool. From The Nature of the Beast, Sign of the Gypsy Queen. Killer tune. Love it. So memorable. It's my favorite. That's my number 1. Honorable mentions. Let's go all the way back from the very underrated first album, okay, which has a lot of really good, that was like, 1971 or 72, something like that, very early 70s, man, really old stuff. Self-titled April Wine. Fast Train. Listen, Mister. Great heavy rock tune. I kind of wanted to squeeze that into my top 10. The also heavy Wench. And Page 5, another good rocker. That first album has got some kind of mellower too. They sounded very different back then, but it's got half of the album is really good, kind of early 70s heavy rock stuff, and the other stuff is a little more poppy, mainstream rock stuff. From the On Record album, You Could Have Been a Lady. Cool tune. Work All Day, another good one. Drop Your Guns, like that one. And Flow River Flow. Some good rockers on that album. From, again, the Electric Jewels album, how about Weepin' Widow? It's that I believe is an old blues tune that they really ramp up and add some crunch to. Come On Along, another great tune. Lady Run, Lady Hide, like that a lot, kind of proggy a little bit. I Can Hear You Calling. Cat's Claw, another blazing rocker. Again, that tune also reminds me a little bit of Frank Marino Mahogany Rush, especially with the guitar work. And The Band Has Just Begun, really good, memorable rocker. From Stand Back, which for me is kind of like a real drop down from the Electric Jewels album. There's a couple good tunes on there, but I find that album kind of lackluster. But it's got Oh What a Night, which is a very cool, memorable tune. Victim of Your Love is a nice, crisp rocker. And Highway Hard Run, also kind of probably one of the heavier tunes on that album. All in all, though, I find that album a little lacking. From The World's Going Crazy, or The Whole World's Going Crazy. I'm sorry, I should have missed that before. The Whole World's Going Crazy. Gimme Love, good, catchy tune. We Can Be More Than We Are, and Shot Down. Shot Down's a really cool tune. For the very forgettable Forever For Now album, man, I don't know what they were thinking. Half that album is just kind of just mellow pop and country and folk and not very good. But the title track is actually pretty good, and Hollywood is actually not Hollywood the place, but Holly the person. Would you what? I don't know. That's a good tune. The rest of that album, from First Glance, a lot of good stuff on there. Right Down to It is great. Coming Right Down on Top of Me is good. I'm Alive. Let Yourself Go. And the great ending track, Silver Dollar, another kind of proggy tune from that album. From Harder, Faster, how about Ladies Man? How about the heavy Babes in Arms? Another tune I wanted to put in my top 10. How about their cover of King Crimson's 21st Century Schizoid, man? That's damn good. What else? From Nature of the Beast, All Over Town, the kickoff track. Love that tune. Another one that sits right outside my top 10. Telling Me Lies, Telling Me Lies. Another memorable tune on there. Caught in the Crossfire. Future Tense. And how about Bad Boys, right? From Power Play. Anything You Want, You Got It. If You CK. If You CK. Get it? How about Blood Money? Another good one. From the last album I'm going to dip into, which is a very kind of mid-'80s commercial hard rock album. Got some cheese on that album, but some memorable tunes on there. This Could Be the Right One was their kind of hit single on there. That's a really good tune. Sons of the Pioneers, another very cool tune. Rock Tonight, Hard Rock Kid, that's kind of heavy. There's some metallic stuff going on this album, but some of the harmonies and things like that are just so 80s. And Too Hot to Handle is a pretty good tune. So there we have honorable mentions. So let's wrap up the top 10 once again, starting at number 1. Sign of the Gypsy Queen from The Nature of the Beast. Roller from First Glance. I Like to Rock from Harder, Faster. So Bad from The Whole World's Going Crazy. Hot on the Wheels of Love from First Glance. Just Between You and Me from The Nature of the Beast. Electric Jewels from Electric Jewels. Crash and Burn from The Nature of the Beast. Before the Dawn from Harder, Faster. Harder, ... faster, I should say. And number 10, Get Ready for Love from First Glance. Again, we got some, a lot of showing here from a couple albums, right? But a lot of good tunes from a lot of their albums. Again, a band that I always really dug. A lot of great songs. I find their discography is a bit inconsistent. Like only a couple of albums are really, really strong start to finish, but still some great tunes sprinkled in a lot of them. And I know a lot of folks dig them. So if you're up in Canada and you've been loving this band for ages and ages and ages, hopefully I've done this justice. So that's April Wine, top 10 songs. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're here on YouTube quite often. We got a ton of stuff coming up over the next couple days. I'm also going to be doing a saga, top 10 songs, really soon. There's another Canadian band I'm going to be doing too. Max Webster, anybody? That's right. So all that stuff is upcoming, as well as we've got Jimi Hendrix top 10 songs. We've got and that's coming up. Iron Maiden coming up this weekend. What else? Dio coming up this weekend. Alice Cooper coming up this weekend. All sorts of good stuff. Hopefully squeeze in a question and answer this weekend as well. And I got some other new product reviews and things like that. So plenty of stuff happening. Maybe I can squeeze in a couple best to worst albums. I'm thinking about doing a Soundgarden one coming up real soon. So no shortage of stuff to do, guys. So we'll see you real soon. Take care.